Be joining in on the chair.
Sounds good.
Well, what is up? I think we're live. What's up, everybody?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Steven on?
Looks like it. Oh, I'm gonna make this not on Do Not Disturb so it doesn't time out on me.
All right, Logan's coming. We have sweatshirts on. It's cold even in California.
Oh, so Logan, you already did your ride?
Yep.
Nice. Outside?
Unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
Logan did his power curve tests, his 4 efforts today.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a nice, sunny, 50-degree day. I got out there. It was kind of overcast. I was like, it's fine. But the wind was so cold, and then it started sprinkling because weatherman can't tell nothing. And I turned into an ice cube, and I still can't feel my fingers.
Oh, jeez.
It was good, though. It was fun.
It's good. I can't wait to see what the power curve turns out.
Yeah, we might tease it a little bit, but we're gonna save the discussion, I think, for the next episode or the next live stream or something, because he literally just finished it.
Yeah, you gotta save some content.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey,
What's up,
Stefan or Steven? I forgot. I'm sorry.
Stefan.
Stefan.
Okay, so I got it right.
He did. Yeah.
Chanting Jeff like Bill Nye, the science guy.
Got to get my Juku energy in here.
Yeah. Sponsor
going for the,
appropriate. I like that. Nice, guys.
I'll go for the espresso one because I'm exhausted.
What do we got today? We have orange. Oh, I have a new flavor mix. They sent a new flavor mix. And
What kind did you get?
well, I had the post ready, and I was gonna send it out to the social medias, and I was like, I better check their website, and they hadn't posted it on their website yet. So then I sent Goo an email. I was like, hey, is it okay if I share this? And they're like, well, actually hold off until the end of the month. So I have a new delicious flavor of Goo mix that I can't share with anybody.
A totally new flavor?
It's a new flavor of their drink mix.
All right.
It's good. They told me I can't say what the flavor is, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's in this bottle right here. There, that's the color of it. It's pink. That'll give you a clue.
Oh,
Watermelon.
Mystery.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right.
It's good.
I got it right. That was watermelon.
So, Logan, what kind of power meter did you get on the bike?
He did dual-sided.
Dual-sided?
Dual-sided stages.
Sweet. I bought a left-hand crank arm from Sage's power meter, and it's pretty sweet.
Nice.
I've enjoyed it so far.
and use that stick discount, right?
I did, actually. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, hey, was it 15 or 20% off?
I have
do you
to look.
remember?
I think it was 20%. It was like, I can look at it. I don't remember exactly.
This is great. People are getting 20% off. I was told it was only 15, so this is awesome.
Oh, I was pleasantly surprised.
So, should I start the workout? You guys ready? I just realized I hadn't started it yet.
Someone said I have a power meter called My Pain Threshold.
That's the one I usually use.
Yeah. It is a funny thing that happens. I was just talking with Logan about this yesterday, where once you start using power, it doesn't take very long, maybe half a season, for you to like equilibrate your legs and your brain, so you'll know like what 200 watts feels like or what 150 watts feels like.
Well, the thing that was surprising to me was how difficult, or how nice, I should say, the smart trainers make it. So you just sit at that power perfectly. Whereas where you're outside, you're trying to maintain your whatever interval you're in. And if you're going up a hill or whatever rolling hill, it's a little more challenging.
I was just telling Jeff that going through this power curve test outside was so much different than going through it inside.
Yeah. Also, I was doing like a warm up before the interval started, and we were going up a hill, and I was like, I can't go up this hill under 200 watts.
Yeah, that's one problem with like steep stuff. If you don't have like crazy granny gears or mountain bike gears or something, you have to go over whatever you're planning on doing if it's too steep.
Yeah, and I'm a bigger guy, like, so it takes watts to get me up a hill, even if I'm going slow.
Tygo says, do you recommend a single-sided power meter? I think I'm going to buy one. I think single-sided is fine.
That's what I just bought.
Yeah, so the only things that single-sided can't get you is if you have like a leg discrepancy. So if your left leg makes more power than your right leg or vice versa, it's not going to take that in consideration. Which could be like a leg length discrepancy, which could be a fit problem, or just could be a physiological problem, like literally your right leg is just stronger than your left leg. So it could be used to diagnose those problems, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's not going to make a difference. And even if you do have some imbalance, that's just a physiological one, it'll be reading, the single-sided will be reading either a little bit high or a little bit low. But as long as you continuously use that same one, the purpose of power meters is to compare your relative efforts to you from the previous training block. So you can track your own progress. And then a lot of people think it's for you to compare it with pros or your friends, and that's a big part of it. It's a social thing too, but the true usefulness of that training tool is to compare to yourself from the last training block.
The nice thing too by using it on the trainer is you get the same power readings, so it's consistent feeling. So if you're doing 200 watts inside, you'll at least have a rough approximation of what 200 is going to feel like outside.
And they're so cheap now. Logan and I just made a video about equipment. I'm excited to post it. I'm editing it now. Hopefully in the next few days I'll post it on the channel. But I was talking about power meter. One of the big takeaways from this episode, as you guys will see, is one of my biggest regrets is waiting so long to get a power meter. But when I first started in this sport, power meter, it was like the SRM was the only choice, and that was like a $2,000 power meter. But now, you can get like a $200 power meter, $250 power meter. So, if you're serious about the sport, or you just want to better yourself and see big performance gains, like you kind of have to get a power meter. You don't have many excuses these days.
Yeah, I mean, for the single-sided crank arm that I got the 105 to match what I had my group set, and it was with the discount. I think it was $240, $245.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Here's a relevant question since we're talking about power. Alex S asks, do you feel like power falls off when moving down to the drops? And if it is, I think you might have a fit issue. But
yeah, or you need to train that. Yeah, you need to be used to riding there. And that's why TrainerRoad, in a lot of their workouts, they suggest you ride down here as if it's a race. Because it might not seem like a big difference, but if you're just used to doing this, there might be different muscle groups you're stimulating if you're down in the drops like this. And you want to be surprised on race day. Do you think the price of Aero wheels will go down in price in the next decade? This is another topic. Thanks for the question, Malatesta, Daniele. Thanks for the question. Yeah, so this is another topic actually we hit, Logan and I, in this equipment episode that we're about to launch. And we kind of got into it a little bit with like the Chinese wheels and the Chinese carbon industry. And I have some thoughts on that. I'll just summarize here, and it's a roll of the dice, because I don't think the QA/QC, in my personal experience, is the same as the big companies. And if you're doing things like forks and wheels and bars and really critical components, it can be sketchy, because if they fail on a descent, like that could be catastrophic. So yes, you can. Prices will probably continue coming down, and there will be a lot more of these Chinese brands. But just find a reputable one that has some type of QA/QC in place. Name brands do that. I don't know when you know, a no-name Chinese brand starts to do QA/QC. That's a difficult question to answer. But you can find cheap stuff in the used market, and you can also find cheap stuff from name brands that are just like last year's generation that have all the trickle-down technology.
Yeah, I can handle the question since I'm not riding to make it easy on you guys.
Why don't you pick your favorite one?
Well, I'll just go through them, the ones that we missed so far.
Okay.
Yeah, loud or quiet hubs. For me, ultra super duper loud is the way to go.
It does sound more pro, I'll have to admit.
I wanted to do I had the GoPro vlog, you know, while I was doing while I was getting my bike off the trainer, and I said hub check the wheel, or I spun it up, and it just didn't sound like anything because it's like a $900 bike. So quiet's the way to go right now.
It's got to sound like a fishing reel. That's pro.
And somebody asked why I'm not on the bike. I just did the power curve test, so I did my workout for the day. I'm not injured or anything. No worries.
How'd that go?
It was good. I feel like I'm not great at pacing, and outside is totally different than inside. So somebody asked about the protocol, and I just did the 20-minute inside, 20-minute section, because I don't know that I have the 20-minute section on road that I could do consistently. So the 20-minute outside, then the 5-1 and sprint inside. Or 20 minutes out inside, the 5-1 and sprint outside. Yeah. But outside was hard to pace. It's so much different than being on a trainer.
Yeah, I agree.
You'll get better at
especially because like I have no idea how to maintain a constant power outside at this point.
In little bitty like downhill and little bitty uphills, like they make the whole difference. Like the gearing and so much more of a difference than I ever thought.
I want erg mode outside.
I'm pretty good at holding a constant power, even like on rolling.
Yeah.
So I've had people comment like, wait, are you on erg mode outside? Because you'll get used to it. It's just something that, like anything else, the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. And this is good for your racing too, because consistency is efficiency, right? That's like one of the things I say on my channel a lot during races. And you don't want to spike up to 800 watts on a little riser because you're all excited and it's a race. You just want to keep a constant power. So it's good to not have to like be super concentrated on your power meter numbers in the middle of a race. You guys will be good at it.
Somebody said they're a big fan from St. Louis, Uncle Paulie, and he said your crit knowledge the crit knowledge that's come from you has notched him 2 wins and a podium in his first 5 races. Thanks for everything.
Nice.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
Nice. Represent St. Louis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Any training tips for big guys learning to climb? Sag climbing?
Training tips, he said?
Training tips for big guys learning to climb.
Well, whether you're big or you're small, the training tips are the same. And you have to learn how to do slow and steady intervals, so sweet spot threshold intervals, because I'm assuming when you say climbing, you mean longer than like a 10-minute climb. So yeah, steady state threshold is going to be your friend. Hit us with another one, Logan.
And each of you share any funny moments you've had in racing. I've never raced, so no. Jeff?
Oh, plenty. Nope.
Funny moments?
Funny moments in racing? Gosh, I don't know. Late for a race because you're in the porta potty. That's a pretty good one. I don't know. There's too many. I need to think of a better one.
So I did a kind of in the end of last year. I did a cyclocross race, like with no experience, no training, none of the correct gear. I just grabbed my like commuter bike with a front fork on it, and I had no idea about anything on the sport. And I ran into so I just did the beginner race, and first turn I didn't know about these things that you're supposed to jump over, and so I just plowed right into it. Like I tried to get off, couldn't unclip, and just tumbled. Got up, and then I figured it out. I was like, okay.
Endoing just like a rite of passage in cyclocross racing.
Yeah.
I mean, I really.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say I really did it without any knowledge about what the sport was at all. I was just like, looked like a fun thing to do, and then I learned pretty quickly.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience, Stefan. I just jumped into a cyclocross race last year. I was like, I'll be good at this. I'm fit, and I decided to make it a public, public video that I put on YouTube, and it was pretty funny. If you guys want to go back and look at that, I don't know what I'm doing, and found myself. So I crashed too. Wasn't that big of a deal, but I crashed. But I was making up all this time on like the non-technical sections or the climb part of the course, and then I would give it all back and then some on the descents and like the barriers and like all the stuff that people who know what they're doing are just flying past, and I'm just getting in their way. It was pretty funny.
All right, if you had to choose, how do you balance your TrainerRoad plan with weekend group rides?
How do you balance your TrainerRoad plan with weekend group rides? So you can still hit intervals, even in a group ride. You can hit the front and do 10 minutes on the front if you have intervals that you have to hit for that day. But I think it's the same rule that applies for if you want to go do a B race or a C race, which is a lower priority race. Substitute that day's TrainerRoad workout with that outside workout. So if you think you're going to go out and do short high intensity stuff like a practice crit, then substitute your short high intensity TrainerRoad workout with that day.
This is kind of a nugget for people that have listened to their podcast for a long time, but they used to have in the plans long rides for the weekend, really long rides. But they found that no one ever did them. And so now the rides, even on plans, are shorter but more intense. So if you're doing a longer outside group ride, I think that would be perfectly fine to something. If you had to choose one, high-end frame or high-end components?
Frame or high-end components? Do I have to choose one of those two? Because I would not do either of those, and I would get a power meter and like focus on a training plan like TrainerRoad or a coach or something like that. That's where the money is best well spent. But between those two,
yeah,
I would say components.
I'd probably say the same, but just so long as the frame fits.
Oh yeah, so we're assuming that things fit. If you have a frame that doesn't fit, then start there.
Yeah. So Logan, have you been, because I'm kind of in this position where I'm at the point in my training where I think it's time for me to retest, but I'm like at the end of sweet spot base one, so I'm kind of waiting till the next block to retest. And so I'm just increasing the workout like percent by 5% and holding that. Like, what are you doing for that? Because I feel like you're probably in a similar position.
Same. Yeah, I've been doing it by about 10% on average, but I got 15% one time. So it's time to retest, but I'm trying to hold out for this live FTP test. I mean, they're still really hard, but that's just how I've been doing it, bumping it up percentage.
Yeah, Stefan, we talked about this in the episode we just recorded, but it hasn't been released yet. So I'll summarize our discussion. You guys can learn a lot more about it in the upcoming episode, but here's the deal. If you're just starting out like Logan is, you're going to see big gains real fast, assuming you're sticking with the training plan, and Logan is. So consistency is most important there. You're going to see big gains early on, and there might be a 4 or 6 week period before you next test with a ramp test. So it's a very high likelihood that your FTP is already way ahead of where you first tested. So the workouts might start feeling easy. And I use the word easy. They never feel easy, but might feel like this is no big deal, I can finish this.
They don't hurt the same way.
If that's the case, there's two things you guys can do. You can retest in the middle of the block and replace a hard workout, short and hard workout with a retest, and then you'll be good to go. Or you can bump up that little percentage, but I would take it slow and do it at the beginning of the ride so it goes through all your intervals. So let's say you have 5 sweet spot intervals you're going through. Start it like in the warm-up and go up like 2%. And if you do the first interval and you still feel great, go to 4%. And then you kind of know. In the next workout, say you landed at 6%. And the next workout just started at 6. And make sure you can still finish successfully the whole workout at that level. That's another way you can get through it until you retest.
All right, we got a Mr. Jonathan Lee in the chat. I don't know who this guy is, but he seems like he's answering questions really well.
Must be a bot.
I saw No Name Cat 1 in the comments, which is funny. That's my training buddy Matt. You guys will know him from a lot of my videos, and he should be getting Matt. You should be getting ready right now because he's coming by after this, and we're gonna add some more miles after this ride.
Yeah, he said don't get too tired for our ride later or something.
Oh,
like
he
that.
did. Okay. I saw his second comment, and he said, "How about that time we made it to Folsom 15 minutes before the ride before the whistle because there was a question earlier about funny moments in a race." Yeah, we were super late for a race out in the Sacramento area, which is like a 2-hour drive for us, and we arrived there like 15 minutes is generous. It might have been 10 minutes before they were actually blowing the whistle. So it was just one of those super panicky moments. And I think that day I got second, so it was good. It ended up working out.
That's how you should show up to all your races.
All right.
Thank you, Jonathan. I saw your comments. Appreciate it, man. Jonathan Lee's on there from TrainerRoad. He's bouncing around too if you guys have questions for him. Go ahead, Logan. You got another question?
This was going to sound like a rookie question, but will doing base miles help with my sprint? I hear about base being a foundation for top-end efforts. From Robert Tracy.
Yes. Next question. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, it will. Maybe not directly. Like it's probably not going to give you more watts in your sprint, all things being equal. But all things are never equal. So here's how it'll help you. You are going to feel more fresh at the end of the race. You're going to be in better position at the end of the race. And for those two reasons alone, you're going to have a better sprint at the end of the race. So I hope that makes sense. I made this mistake for years before I realized that if you're not in position to sprint, it doesn't matter how good your sprint is, you're still not going to win the race. So know how to position yourself, and having a higher FTP, which is the result of good base training, is going to help you navigate the pack much more easily when the moment's right.
When is the group ramp test? We haven't set a date for it yet, I don't think.
No, we haven't. We're still deciding. It's going to be
a couple weeks.
Probably 2 Saturdays from now. I'll make it real. I'll make it real obvious. I'll post about it on Instagram. I'll post about it here on YouTube, and I'll let everybody know when we've decided on a date. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2 weeks from now, and I think that we might have a good amount of us, 4 or 5 of us. By the way, if anybody wants to join in on that, my contact information is in the description box of this video. You can DM me on Instagram. There's plenty of ways to get in touch with me. Just let me know. And if you don't want to do a live ramp test, you just want to join one of these casual pedits with us, awesome. The more the merrier. Just send me a message, guys. I'll let you in.
I did watch the TrainerRoad group ramp test.
Yeah.
And that was intense. I'm already
Yeah,
nervous.
they crushed it.
Yeah. Oh, my cat's here to say hi. Hello.
Somebody suggested that we do it one at a time, which I think is a good idea because then we can encourage each other. But if we have like more than 3 people, it's going to be like an hour long, and it might be too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So now I'm thinking that we'll probably just do all of them at the same time, just like TrainerRoad guys did.
Jonathan said he has one scheduled in 2 weeks too. Maybe we can join up. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, that timing is perfect. All
That'd be
right,
perfect.
Jonathan, I'm gonna email you about that.
Stay in touch. Somebody said, what do you think about the Shimano Claris group set? It's 8 at the back, and I'm a rather new rider, and I wanted to know if it'll suit me. So that's the exact same group set I have. I'm an 8-speed on the back, which is crazy.
Crazy because they're at 12 now.
I feel like a noob, you know?
So more speeds just means you have better precision on your shifting. Like the difference between one gear to the next is bigger on an 8-speed. It says nothing about the range of gears, though.
I told Jeff that when he asked me what group set was on my bike, and he goes, "They still make those?" When we started this.
Yeah, they're hard. It's like hard to find 8-speed stuff nowadays.
The one I have on the trainer is the 8-speed.
All right, DIY.
That matters.
Do DIY sports drink with water, honey, salt, and fruit juice. Any opinions on making yourself some energy?
I used to make my own drink mix.
Cheaper, right?
Buy glucose and buy fructose. And then glucose, when you buy it wholesale, it's also called maltodextrin sometimes. It is not sweet. So be prepared for either a drink that does not taste good or you can add like stevia to it or something that will make it taste good, or I don't know, something that you like, some citrus in there or something. But it's not going to taste the same. And just make sure, you guys, if you're going that route, that you are very thoughtful about electrolytes too, because one thing I don't talk about really when we're talking nutrition is electrolytes, which is insanely important. And when you're buying a product like GU or like any nutrition brand, that stuff's going to be built in. It needs to be, there you go. It needs to be isotonic, meaning it's the same electrolyte balance in your blood, because otherwise you're either going to have way too much liquids on board or not enough. And either way, it's bad news for performance. So just make sure you guys are very mindful. It can be cheaper, but just like make sure you do it right.
I've always found that it's just easier to get like a good high quality mix that has some carbs, some electrolytes, because I don't have to worry about it because they've done all the legwork.
Yeah,
totally. It's expensive though.
I saw some comments though that said like to replace gels, like a spoon of honey or dates especially are good. So I think those, especially if you want to save on the wrappers, are fine. But I don't know, I would just rather buy them drink mix specifically.
Yeah. So how much are you fueling if, like, for example, say today you were only doing this ride and not riding afterwards? Are you still taking the 60 to 80 grams carbs per hour?
Yeah. Anytime I'm on the bike, maybe some people out there will go out and do like less than 100 watts, but that's really like the threshold for like you just need to fuel, because 100 watts is where you're going to be burning more calories than you're able to take in, than your gut is able to take in. So just fuel, even if you feel like you don't need to. It might not help in today's Pettit ride, but in tomorrow's workout, you're going to be glad that you fueled properly.
I got antelope tomorrow.
Antelope's a good one. I like antelope. It's a hard one, but it's good. Sweet spot.
So somebody asked again why I'm not riding. Y'all go ahead and answer another question. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
I have the KD +1 for.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's over under, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one. So Logan's not riding because he already rode this morning. He did his power curve test, whatever you want to call it. He did 4 efforts, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, and then an all-out sprint for like 10 seconds. And we're establishing his power curve. We talked about it in the last episode. We're going to talk a lot more about it in the next episode. So that's why he's not riding, because he's done a ton of work this morning already.
All right, I'm back.
He's riding now.
to do that the rest of the time.
He's got to swing that upper body and, kind of looks the same, right?
You look so slow down over there, Logan. You're going too fast,
Yeah.
man.
I'm about to come through the computer.
So Aero.
Somebody said I've been working out in the gym for greater than 5 years.
Hey, call out their name. Sorry, call out their name.
Yeah.
Like that.
BMMAIA, because I can't pronounce that. Bamimia said that they train 4 days a week in the gym. If they can, with this training, can I fit a good bicycle training in, or is it two different worlds? Bro, that's me. It's two different worlds.
So you're training in the gym, but I don't know what that means. Are you on a stationary bike in the gym, or is that weights?
Yeah. He said bench press, deadlift, squat,
Okay.
pull, like strength training, and it's two different worlds.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's really going to affect you is leg day,
Yeah.
right?
So I'll tell a funny story real fast about that, because I used to be really into rock climbing, and like really short, like bouldering, if people know what that is. So I used to boulder a lot, and I had a lot of like upper body muscle mass that I didn't think was there until I stopped rock climbing and I focused on one sport, and all of a sudden, my watts per kilo just like skyrocketed. I was training a little bit more on the bike, so my power went up maybe a little bit, but I lost like 10 or 15 pounds. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm a climber. Turns out I'm still not a climber, but I'm better at climbing, and I lost all this unnecessary weight. So it's cool to be a well-rounded athlete and CrossFit, and you still should do some of that. But if you want to focus on maximizing your performance on the bike, like bench pressing probably is not going to do a whole lot for you. It's going to make you a healthier individual though, but it's probably not going to help your bicycle performance.
It'll help you fit into your jersey.
Yeah, you look more pro too.
And if you snap a handlebar in your 3,000 watt sprint, it looks super pro.
So Jeff, how much are you thinking about cadence when you're sprinting?
I'm not thinking about cadence at all when I'm sprinting. It just kind of comes naturally. I usually start my sprint around like 95 at the low end, 100 at the low end, somewhere in around there, and then I'll finish at like 120 probably. This is just an average sprint. That's just what feels most natural. I am not looking at my computer. I'm not aware of it. I don't go train a specific cadence when I'm sprinting or anything like that. That's just what feels most efficient. And I think that's true for bike riding in general. There's a huge range, and I don't think there's any science that backs up lower cadence is better than higher cadence or vice versa. So as long as you're kind of in this window of like high 70s to low 100s, not just in terms of sprinting, but bike racing in general, you're good to go. If you find that you're like 62 average in your last race, something might be wrong. Go train yourself to spin a little bit faster, and you'll probably be much more efficient. But mostly cadence is just like whatever you feel is appropriate.
Yeah. The reason I ask is after I got that power meter, I went out and just like wanted to see what my sprint would be like. And I noticed that I sprinted like maybe 3 times, and I noticed with each sprint my cadence was faster and faster and faster, and my max power went up and up and up. So I thought, I don't know if that was something to think about.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple of thoughts about that. First of all, when I go out and I do a training ride, I'll usually finish it outside training ride. I'll usually finish it with a sprint or 2 because I like to do that. My second sprint is almost always better than my first sprint, and I think you're just stimulating muscles that haven't been stimulated that ride if you're doing a long endurance ride or something like that. So that's one consideration. Also, higher cadence is better. If you can comfortably spin a higher cadence, it's better for the reason that you can accelerate more quickly. It might be harder to maximize power at a higher cadence if you're not used to spinning really fast. But talk to any track guy, and they'll be used to spinning at a really high cadence. And if you're in a crit or something, high cadence means you can accelerate quickly, which is super important for sprinting, for closing gaps, and for all of those little decisions you make in a crit. So I would say if you can get away with a higher cadence, do that, but otherwise default to whatever feels most natural.
I feel like that makes sense too, because I feel like you'll have more inertia in your legs the faster they're spinning.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, it takes practice, right? Because like I said before, sprinting isn't just your legs. It's your upper body too, and it's your core, and you're orchestrating a bunch of muscle groups at the same time in order to deliver all that power to the pedals. I see a lot of Cat 5 sprinters, like first they're in the hoods, which is wrong, and also they're just like all upright, and they're just like doing this. Like their body is just like totally stationary, and you can be pulling on the bars a bit and utilizing other muscle groups. See a lot of really sloppy sprint technique, or even worse, their bike is, like when your right leg is down, you should be pulling on your right arm. And when your left leg is down, you should be pulling on your left. So your bike should be bouncing back and forth that way. I see the opposite sometimes in Cat 5 races or new racers, especially when they're really tired. You see some pretty sloppy sprint technique, which makes them lose watts.
Stefan, what was your peak power on those sprints?
So I did it 3 times. The first time I did it, I got like 1,000 watts, 1,200 watts, and the third time I did it was 1325 was the max.
Yeah, dude.
Dang, man.
Those are big
just
numbers.
clarify. Go ahead.
I just said those are big numbers. That's impressive. Good work.
I played hockey all my life, so I feel like leg strength, like as far as just like squatting or something, is something I can do.
Power.
It's the endurance I'm worried about.
Yeah, you and me both.
Same, bro.
Yeah, so the question is, can you make those power numbers 8 times in a race while also operating at 90-95% threshold, and then can you do it at the very end of the race when it matters most?
And you get to the end of the race and put yourself in a position where it works.
But it's cool to know that you have that capability, because now it's just a matter of
not getting dropped.
Giving yourself the giving yourself the opportunity to use it at the end of the race. So training the endurance side of things, but knowing that you have this ability is great, because now you have something to work towards.
Yeah, I've enjoyed looking at that power curve, because after every ride, it just gets a little more filled out in certain areas.
All right, let's clear through these little backlog of questions. Jonathan said that's why Jeff is so fast, and I think we're talking about fueling. He said, always fuel, don't look for the minimal effective dose, don't diet on the bike. And more fueling equals better performance equals better recovery between rides, which you can't say it any better than that.
Yep.
Somebody asked what helmet this is. I don't know. It's the $100 Specialized helmet that I got when I started riding. What kind of speed do you average around White Rock Lake, which is where I ride here? I don't know. I think maybe slower.
How fast did you say?
18.
18.
Maybe slower. But I'm by myself. I don't ride with other people yet. Are you all doing sweet spot?
Hey, call out the names if you don't mind.
My bad.
No worries.
Alex S. asked the speed question, and Alan Liu asked the helmet question. LOL, what the ass? Are you all sweet spot low volume base and that's it? Or do you supplement with zone 2 rides on other days?
I'll start. I follow the TrainerRoad plan as best as I possibly can. They know what they're doing. I don't know why people poo-poo sweet spot. Like, literally all 4 of us on this, we're all at different stages in this sport. We're all seeing big gains from following structured training, which is sweet spot base. I think all of us are following sweet spot base. So, yeah, I don't know. It works for the 4 of us. Maybe it doesn't work for you. But I think if you're just consistent and you follow the training plan, it will work for you.
Maybe we're just anomalies. Who knows?
Yeah, we're just freaks.
Evan said, why is Logan just sitting there? What the F?
You should hold up a sign.
I already rode today. I've already rode today. I'm still cold from my ride because it was a lot colder than it was supposed to be. I finished 35 minutes ago and I'm still kind of shivering. So that's why I'm not riding.
How's the weather in Dallas?
So it was supposed to be 50 degrees and sunny. That's what I was told. And I got out there and it was still overcast. I was like, I'll warm up. It'll be fine. But the wind was so cold, and then it started sprinkling. And so my fingers and my toes and my face were just numb. It was horrible. But I got the power profile test in. So
Dude, I'm
So-
jealous.
It's still
Jonathan,
pretty cold here in St. Louis. Yeah.
Jonathan's got a good question. Jeff, out of all the Mike's Bikes racers, who has the highest peak power, who has the highest 15-second power, and who has the highest 1-minute power? So, Matt Chatleong, who left, he went to grad school. He owned probably 2 of the 3. He had the highest peak and the highest 15-second. And they were crazy. Like close to 2,000 peak, and then 15-second probably wasn't too far behind that. I don't know specifically, but tons of power. And he could, and coming back to our conversation earlier, he could do it at the end of a race. So that's what made it lethal. This wasn't just perfect, I'm gonna go warm up and do an explosive sprint or 2. This was like at the end of a hard race out of a breakaway, he could generate big time numbers. Highest 1 minute, it might be me. That's kind of my best attribute is like 1 minute power. But we also have guys like Brennan who have like a 450 watt FTP, maybe 4, like crazy high numbers, unbelievable numbers.
Whoa.
But he's like, so he might have a better 1 minute power. He probably does. He's also a big guy, so he's like a very good time trialist. He's also a very good climber just because he can put out so much power.
how much did he weigh when he was doing those numbers?
The sprinter?
That had the almost 2,000 peak power.
Yeah. Probably, I'm going to get this wrong, and then he's going to listen to this and be mad at me. I don't know, just by looking at him. Probably 165, 170?
That's still so light. Like, to do that kind of power, I feel like.
It ticks me off that that's heavy for a cyclist.
I know. That's still like 40 pounds, 30 pounds less than me.
Well, it's just a different skill set, right? Like, he's so good at burning his entire book of matches all in one go, like the whole book, just throw it in the fire. And other people are better at just doing a slow burn across the whole race. So it's just a different skill set, you know? But yeah, he's a freak of nature. He's just incredibly talented. And for like a 450 watt FTP, guys, that's insane too. I don't know exactly what Brennan's FTP is, but it's like nuts what he's capable of.
Jonathan said he could be the best time trialist in the country, in his opinion.
Brennan, yeah. Jonathan had to race with him at Valley of the Sun, which is hilarious. He won that time trial. Brennan won that time trial, not on a time trial bike.
Is that the videos that Jonathan did, and they just kept talking about this guy that was demolishing everyone?
Yeah, because he won. They're probably talking about Brennan because he won that stage race, and it's a good thing he's my teammate because I don't want to race against him.
They said it wasn't even fair. Like he didn't have a chance of beating them in that race.
He raced the time a flat time trial, flat-ish time trial on just a road bike. Just like maybe he had clip-ons, just like this on a road bike. I don't think he had a disc. I think he was just like, okay, I'll just go out and do 475 watts.
It was that guy.
It was that guy, yeah.
That's hilarious.
How do you even fuel with a 480 watt FTP?
You just eat everything all the time.
Yeah.
Where in Michigan does William live? This guy, Dak Sailors in Milford.
He asks,
That's not too
William?
far. I live in a little town north of Flint called Flushing. So I'm a teacher up here. So maybe we'll get together sometime once it's a little bit safer.
And not 5 degrees.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like down to -5 next week. So I'm so jealous of your outside rides, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 0 in St. Louis next weekend too. It's like too cold, man.
Thank the Lord.
I'm
for
over
smart
this winter
trainers.
thing.
Jonathan said with the video, he was right behind him for the crit, and then what's his name? Brennan, I guess, sat up, and it messed up Jonathan's sprint. That's why I remember that.
All right, highlights CX cycling. What are you guys FTP all in watts and kilograms? If you're comfortable sharing it. William.
Oh, real quick, Jonathan said his dad's from this area, so that's super cool, man. FTP 213 watts per kilogram. Weighed myself, went down a little bit, up to 3.5.
Go ahead, Stefan.
Yeah, so I'm at, I think my FTP is old right now. So I tested at 297, and I'm about to test again in a couple weeks. So I'm hoping it'll be higher.
Maybe on live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I weigh, so that puts my watts per kilogram at like 3.2. I'm hoping for a 5% increase. So I would like to be at like 315 FTP.
And my FTP is kind of the same as Stefan's, but it's at 204. It's kind of the same being. I think my FTP is higher now after this block of training. Not kind of the same as his is 100 higher than mine. Mine's 204, and I weigh 190. I think that's like 2.4 watts per kilo. So.
But we already know it's a lot higher based on how the workouts have been feeling, and yeah.
It's going to be higher than that, though. We'll see how it jumps.
Well, I mean, I've taken like 3 rib tests, and each time there's been like a 10 to 15% increase. So if you've tested once, it's going to go up a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that, man.
I've also lost a lot of weight, so that's kind of something that doesn't show up on the TrainerRoad. You know, just the workouts. I weighed 195 when this started. I weighed 186 this morning.
Wow.
Nice.
How much are you like thinking about dieting? Or are you just eating whatever and working out a lot?
Stopped eating dessert. You know, I used to buy like a pint of ice cream a week, you know, and have it like 2 or 3 times, you know, three or 4 times throughout the week for dessert. But I stopped buying that, so I don't have dessert anymore, and I stopped snacking on crappy things throughout the day. I think that's made a good difference.
And he's fueling his rides on the bike with about 80 to 100 grams of carbs per hour, however much his stomach can allow.
I'm eating more carbs than I've ever eaten in my life, and I lost 9 pounds.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I do a gel before a ride. I do a bottle of mix and another gel during the workout, which I think it's 100 carbs.
Hey,
What's been your favorite?
Trouble on Wheels is wondering, Logan, why aren't you riding?
Oh, broke my leg. Got scratched over. Sorry.
He did his workout this morning. We're excited to share it, actually, in the next episode. He did his power curve test 4 times.
Yep.
4 times, 20 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute, and 15 second.
I've just already worked out. That's it. I'm trying to make it look better, though. So.
I love when I hear these 16-year-olds with a 4 watt per kilo. That's so awesome. Damn. Good job, Tygo. Hanging there. Oh, by the way, all you guys are all starting at a place where, like, I just wish I could get in a time machine and, like, have structured training. And you guys are already starting out are higher than where I started out. So it's awesome. And I'm still improving, even over a decade later. So, you know, endurance sports take years to fully develop yourself, and it can just continue going until you're an old masters racer like me.
Brad L asked the dextrose versus maltodextrin question. I'm not too sure, like why.
I think they're the same thing, but you better make sure.
I'm not too educated on that.
So table sugar, white sugar, that's also that's sucrose. That's usually half glucose, half fructose, which is what you want, a balance of those two, because they both absorb in your gut. And I'll just echo what I said before. If you guys are making your own mix, which is great, I used to do that too, for a very brief amount of time. You can do that. You just have to be so careful what you're putting in that bottle. for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to taste like crap if you don't do it right, because maltodextrin in bulk is not sweet at all. So it won't taste good, and you have to put in the right amount of electrolytes, otherwise you risk hurting yourself in a worst case scenario, or just severely underperforming. So I recommend you buy a brand that already has that mix in there, but I understand it's expensive, so just do your research and make sure you're putting in that bottle what should be in that bottle. Isotonic and carb rich with the 50-50 balance.
Jeff, LOL, what, just moved to San Mateo, California from Florida. Is Canada Road the main cycling route around there?
They close it off on Sundays for cyclists and rollerbladers and stroller moms and anybody else. No cars. So yes, it kind of is in that respect. If you're from San Mateo, I would go south and get on Foothill. Foothill is like the cyclist highway, and you can do Old La Honda, you can do Highway 9. It brings you all down the peninsula into my neck of the woods, and there's tons of good riding. Welcome. You're gonna enjoy the riding around here. It's fantastic. Guys, I hate to brag. William, I apologize. But I'm probably gonna do no leg warmers, no arm warmers today. It's just that sort of a day.
I'll ride
but
my
wait
bike
till I
there.
tell you about my rent. Then you might have second thoughts.
Yeah.
It's fair.
If you own, this is Highland CX Cycling. If you only look at FTP watt per kilo, how high does it need to be by Cat 5, by Cat 4, by Cat 3, P1, 2?
So,
Or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. Go ahead,
sorry.
Stefan. Go ahead, Stefan.
I was just going to say, I have Googled this question many times. And something that I found is, well, one, it doesn't matter, I think, based on this, like what Jeff's talking about, skill in racing. But the second thing I'd say is I found this spreadsheet that kind of gives you a list of like Cat 5, Cat 4, Cat 3, 2, whatever, and P. And it's in watts per kilogram. And so it says like kind of where you'll be in that pack.
I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it in the comments right now because I have it.
Okay.
And for flat crits, it kind of matters less your watt per kilo and more your overall FTP. But once you start getting into the rolling crits or anything with the hill, watts per kilo is something like
There,
That's what I'm banking on.
I shared a link to it. It's just a guide. It doesn't mean that you can't race in a higher category. Like if you go by that guide, I shouldn't be racing as a Cat 1 because my FTP is not high enough. But it doesn't matter because, yeah, like position and strategy, it doesn't take that in consideration. And that's a humongous consideration. If you guys have watched any of my videos, I talk a lot about that.
So I am untrained, e.g. non-racer.
Yeah, but wait until you retest.
Yeah.
Yeah, coconut water's good. The problem with coconut water, though, is it's not any cheaper than drink mix. It's probably more expensive than drink mix, but it's a good point. Coconut water is isotonic.
Logan, are you worried about riding in a pack at all, like for your first race?
No. I traditionally have not, in most sports. I'm not very scared of like snowboarding, skateboarding, riding bikes fast. I don't really get too happy, so I'm excited to be able to do that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I grew up around like bikes and on a bike and on wheels, whatever, like rollerblades, bikes, skateboards, anything. So I feel like my handling is going to be better than it should be. Like I was outside yesterday trying to learn how to wheelie. I got a little ways, but I still can't ride one. So no, I'm kind of excited to learn how to ride in a pack. Getting really close to people's wheels and being efficient, I think is going to be where I have to learn a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the same way. I mean, I feel like I've watched so many of Jeff's videos that I have a good idea on how to navigate a field, but I definitely think once I get up on that first race and the heart rate's up because of nerves and everything, that's all gonna go out the window.
Yeah, I've compared it to like studying for a test, right? You can look at the theory all day long. If you don't actually like do practice problems, you're not going to be ready for the test. So
I mean, I have a good analogy for you guys because so I'm a music teacher. So, you know, one of the things that I always like talk about with my students is like practical application of skills. You know, so you know, if you ever think about someone like you're not going to learn how to perform music by talking about it. You learn by doing it. So I can't remember who the quote was from, but there's a quote that says, talking about music is like dancing about architecture. Where it's like, it makes no sense. Like you can't talk about it. So
it's a good point. Yeah.
To me, it's like, how do I get better at riding my bike? Well, you can watch all the videos and do all the studying you want, but if you want to get better at riding the bike, just go and ride the bike.
Yeah, and I guess like my point is not so much that I'm worried about how I'll do in a pack, but it's like, especially starting out in the lower levels, erratic behavior of other people.
Yeah.
Always assume they're going to do something really stupid. So don't cross wheels, and don't put yourself in a position where you know, you are relying on them doing the right thing, because they probably won't. That's true not just in Cat 5. That's true across the board. You should never put yourself in a compromising position that you can't get yourself out of.
All right, Jeff, I got a couple rapid fires for you. I can't remember who said the first one. It was up there and I couldn't find it.
That's fine. Yeah, go for it.
Malatesta said, Jeff, unrelated to cycling, but I know there's a lot of poker rooms in California. Do you play? I feel like you'd be amazing because you're so analytical. And someone also asked, do you drink? So we just want to know how big of a scumbag you are sometimes.
Yes to both. I don't play poker anymore, but I used to play poker quite a bit, actually. So they kind of got me pegged, got to admit. And then the second one, do I drink? I mean, yeah, like I'll have a glass of wine or a beer. I can't remember the last time I like got drunk was because, guys, I'm a masters racer with a kid and like just an old man now. But no, I have a glass of wine or a beer or a tumbler full of whiskey a few times a week.
If you want to know about drinking and cycling, just listen to the TrainerRoad podcast. Any episode with Chad in it, they'll answer that question for you. Oh, this is interesting. So Matthew Zane, you'll like this. Matthew Zane said, I know that sprinting should be better outside, but I've done a few tests indoors and outdoors, and sprinting outside feels kind of awkward, and I can't hit the same numbers as I can inside, which is opposite to what most people have, right?
Yeah, that is. And I think it's the same reason. So I did a whole video and I like really got into this because I lost a bunch of Zwift races and I was like, why can't I sprint? I was there in position and everything and then I couldn't sprint. So long story short, the reason why is because the bike can't move from underneath you, right? So we were talking earlier in this live stream about sprinting and how your whole bike is rocking and you're using a bunch of muscles other than just your legs. And that's proper sprint form outdoor. Indoor, that's not possible because the bike is stationary. So I would say, for the same reason I couldn't sprint inside, I wasn't used to a different technique. It's just a different technique. It's a different thing. You've probably gotten so accustomed to riding on a trainer and sprinting on a trainer that now you're going outside and you're going, what is this? The bike's all loose underneath me. I don't know how to deal with this. So it's just the opposite problem. And train more outside. Practice sprints outside. At first, don't go out and do max effort sprints. Do, 75% of your max power, 50% of your max power, and just focus on the technique. So I did this earlier, but let's do it again. When your right leg is down, you're pulling on your right arm. When your left leg is pushing down, you're pulling up with your left arm. That's how the bike should be rotating underneath you. You're like, they're opposing each other. You're pushing with your left leg and you're pulling up with your left arm. And that's how that's supposed to go. That's how you're going to maximize your power outside. Inside, you're not really pulling, right? Because the bike can't move. So anyway, that's just a thought.
All right. Donald Sherwood said, Jeff, I'm also located in the Bay Area. Is there an established route that circumnavigates the entire bay.
Bay Trails. Look it up. It's called Bay Trails, yes. And you'll probably need a gravel bike, especially this time of year. Don't do it if it's rained within the last few days. You're going to have a bad time.
All right. Finn said, do you guys do endurance sports, running, Nordic skiing, etc.? No.
I came from a running background in high school. I did distance track, not cross country, but I would have if we had it. And I was doing a little bit of longer distance endurance stuff like half marathon, but actually injured myself training for my second half marathon because of the impact running.
Yeah.
And that's when I went over to this thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I not quite endurance sport, but I played hockey my entire life, and so recently getting into cycling. But I've been toying with the idea of doing a triathlon in June, and I have like never swam competitively or ran competitively for that matter, and the swim has got me worried. Have you done any triathlons, Jeff?
No. I used to run. I sucked at it, by the way. I used to run also in high school. But I did cross country in high school, and then I tried to be a competitive runner in college. Not on a college team, but just when I was in college. I've always had an affinity for endurance sports, but I had the same problem, William. I totally sympathize with stress injuries and the constant thud of running, and I am like not built for high impact sports like that. And I was always overtraining and nursing a knee or an ankle injury. And what ended up happening with me was, although I started bike racing when I was young, or bike riding when I was young, I never really viewed it as a sport, because here in the United States, we don't really view it as a sport, which is weird. But I started cross-training a lot more to continue my aerobic ability while I was nursing some running injury. And the running injuries were more and more frequent, so I was riding my bike more and more often, and that's when I got hooked up with the collegiate cycling team in Davis, which was really powerful. It probably still is. They were national champs back when I went to UC Davis, and I did some group rides with them and got absolutely smoked, and I was like, okay, I gotta get better at this. So then I just gave up running, and I was like, okay, this is my new sport. And the minute I did a training series of races, here in the Bay Area, I was just hooked. That's when I understood, the power of drafting, and you don't necessarily have to be the strongest guy to win. And just the whole dynamic of like strategy in the sports has just always fascinated me.
So that's exactly why I'm not gonna train for this triathlon on the running portion. I'm just gonna do it.
Didn't vegan cyclist do a off the couch Ironman?
That video is hilarious.
It's so
I
good.
think, yeah, that was wild.
He was filming himself on the run, and he just, I'm going to use Nate's word, poo-poo talking himself on the run the whole time. It's so funny.
Dude, and I gotta say,
this is so stupid. Running sucks.
dude, and being like the shortest guy on a track, like nobody assumes that you can run. So it was always a struggle. So I'm glad that Jeff sympathizes with that. It's
Yeah.
You have to be a special breed to run, man.
Yeah.
All right. Jack Hardwick says, can each of you guys share what you do for work career? I guess it's as if you want to. Joe Williams, a music teacher.
Yep.
What
Music
age
teacher.
group do you teach?
What?
What ages do you teach?
I teach 6th grade all the way up to 12th grade. So I teach instrumental music, so band pretty much. So
Cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
these workouts go by so fast.
yeah.
I'm in medical sales, so I go talk to doctors and try to get them to buy things.
I'm an engineer. I work in the aerospace industry.
I'm a geologist. I work in the geology industry.
A nice variety.
As one does. I didn't realize it was over.
You're just still spinning. You're like, I'm so fast now.
I'll let Jeff answer Omar Levrand's question if he wants to. I don't know if it's sacrilegious to bring that up.
Jeez, I don't even know what read me the question.
Would Jeff ever join Legion?
Oh, I see it now.
Legion is a pro team now, somebody else said, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I don't even think I have to worry about that because I would never be asked to join Legion. No, I like racing locally. They're probably putting a lot bigger focus on non-local races. Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Stefan looks like so much like a hockey player. You fit in the bill.
Are you missing any teeth? You have all your teeth though, so.
Yeah, I got them all. You have to play with a cage if you're in 18 or for in school.
All right, gents. Do we have any closing questions here?
I think there's one more. Hi guys, thanks for sharing. I'm doing structured training and I find my FTP is dropping while my sprints and upper part of the power curve is increasing.
What gives? That sounds the sprint part increasing. I don't know. That's weird. You might be overtraining, or like I've said on the channel, under resting, because there's no such thing as overtraining, just under resting. So, are you sleeping 8 hours a night? Are you fueling properly on the bike? I know I beat this dead horse, but fuel, eat carbs, eat carbs. If you're not eating carbs, you're going to see a drop in your FTP.
Are you on mid volume when you might be on a low volume? Might need to be on a low volume. Are you on high volume when you should be on mid volume?
It sounds like an under resting / overtraining problem to me. Take a week off, retest, and then see where you're at, and then do a block. And then if you're struggling again, take another week off. And don't force the issue, because overtraining can ruin a whole season. So don't force it.
I think that's it.
All right, guys.
Jonathan says I agree with Jeff.
Cool.
You got the answer right.
Cool. All right, guys. It's been real. Looking so forward to the next episode. It's about equipment. It's about gear, and it's gonna be a long one. But I just kind of got on the. I got on the soapbox. I started talking about equipment, and I didn't stop. So.
Who doesn't want to talk about bikes that long?
Yeah, it's
when
good.
When can we expect that one to drop?
Next week at some point. You know what it is here? I'll tease it. I go through the last 12 years of my equipment voyage through 12 years of cycling, and like the good decisions I made, the bad decisions I made, the really bad decisions I made, and then if I could do it all over, like what differences I would make. So excited to talk about it.
Awesome.
Later, guys.
Great.
Cool. See y'all.
See ya.
And